My abusive father forced me to spy on my mother so he could punish her, and if I didn't obey, he punished me. I finally broke and contacted CPS, but he lied his way out, and now he knows I tried to get him locked up. I'm terrified of what he'll do next. I was 6 when my mom overcooked my macaroni and cheese, and I started bawling like any kid would. Then I heard my father's heavy footsteps thundering down the stairs, and my mom's eyes filled with dread. She tried to hush, me pressing her hand over my mouth, but that only made things worse. "Boy, get to your room," my father barked, his voice sharp and icy. The moment I closed the door, the shouting began. "I married you, and you can't even make our kid a damn meal." My heart froze, and then I heard a thud, like my mom had crumpled to the floor. I rushed out to check on her and saw her cheek, swollen and bruised. I dropped to my knees to hold her, to make her feel safe, but my father's voice cut through. "Son, don't bother with that trash, she earned it." I tried to ignore him and comfort her, but he threatened to hit me too, if I didn't stop. From that day, he pushed me to report my mom's every mistake. Any unwashed dish, any time she was late picking me up. He said it was to fix her, for the good of our family. When I hesitated, he'd beat me until I complied. That's how I spent my childhood, turned into a watchdog. Sometimes I promised my mom I'd keep her slip-up secret, but she'd snap, "No, do what your father says," her voice firm and desperate. For years, I thought this was normal. That violence was just part of family life. Then, at a friend's house, I saw something different. His parents ate with us in the dining room. He was my first friend with both parents still married, so I felt a connection, until I bit into a sandwich with a charred bun. "This is burnt," I blurted, expecting his dad to explode, maybe shove his mom or slap her. Instead, he chuckled. "She always does that." His mom laughed, playfully covering her face, and my friend grinned. I sat there, braced for chaos that never came. When I left, both parents hugged me goodbye. Walking home, my mind reeled. Stepping into my house felt like entering a different universe. My mom was crumpled on the tile floor, blood trickling from her temples, sobbing. My father's snores echoed from upstairs. I knelt beside her. She tried to push me away, but I whispered, "Be quiet," and cleaned her wounds. "I'm sorry I haven't protected you, Mom. I love you." She didn't speak, just clung to my arms, nodding through her tears. The next day, I'd had enough. I was ready to turn on my parents in the worst way. After school, instead of going home, I went to the sheriff's office. Unsure of the process, I spilled everything: the beatings, the control, the fear. The officer looked alarmed and said she'd call a caseworker for an urgent home visit. After an hour, the caseworker arrived at the station, promising to visit that night. She warned me my parents would likely figure out I'd reported them. My stomach dropped, but she assured me she'd arrange emergency shelter for me and my mom afterward. Overwhelmed with gratitude, I hugged her. I went home smiling. At 8 p.m., there was a knock. My mom opened the door thinking it was a relative. The caseworker saw her bruised face and split lip. I watched from the shadows. When my mom realized what was happening, she paled and called my father. I don't know what he said, but within minutes, the caseworker apologized for the misunderstanding and left. My father had conned her. I tried to bolt to my room, but he caught me. "If you thought what I did to your mother was bad, wait till you see how my father taught me to deal with traitors." I won't describe what followed. I woke up on my bedroom floor, every inch of me aching. My mom had bandaged me while I was out. She sat on my bed, her eyes hollow, whispering she was sorry, but we could never tell anyone again. My father had convinced the caseworker my mom's injuries were from a fall, and I was a problem child inventing tales. At school, I could barely sit without grimacing. My teacher, Ms. Harper, asked if I was okay. I nodded, mumbling about falling off my skateboard, a lie I'd perfected. That night at dinner, my father acted like nothing happened, chatting about his job, asking about school. Then he grinned, making my skin crawl. "Son, we need a new plan. Your mother needs more guidance than I realized." He said I'd now report every single thing she did wrong, or we'd both pay. The next weeks were hell. I was his informant, tracking her every move. If she lingered at the store, if dinner was late, if she talked too long with her cousin. Worst of all, my mom started prompting me to tell him, terrified we'd both suffer if I didn't. One day at school, I broke, sobbing in the restroom. A new kid, Lucas, found me. He'd transferred in recently. He didn't pry, just sat with me until I stopped crying. We started eating lunch together. He talked about comics and sports, letting me escape my reality for a bit. One day Lucas saw bruises on my wrist when my sleeve slipped. He didn't comment then, but the next day, He brought me an extra granola bar his mom packed. Then a shiny stone he'd found. Small gestures, but they kept me going. A month later, I confided in Lucas about my father's temper. Not the full story, just hints. He didn't overreact, just shared that his aunt had escaped a bad situation. It was the first time I thought, escape might be possible. I hung out with Lucas more at school, staying late with fake study sessions. My father grew suspicious, but my better grades calmed him. Lucas was my anchor, the only one who knew a sliver of my truth. But my father was everywhere. He'd show up at school unannounced, eyeing my friends. He grilled me about my day at home. The spying never stopped. My mom and I were trapped in his twisted game, shielding each other but unable to break free. One day, Lucas invited me to his house. I panicked. I hadn't visited anyone since that friend's house years ago, which had shifted my world. I made an excuse about helping my mom. Lucas looked disappointed but didn't push, though his eyes lingered, like he sensed my fear. When I got home, my father was by the door. "You're 6 minutes late," he said, glancing at his watch. My heart sank. I stammered about a teacher holding us back. True for once. He stared, his gaze slicing through me, then nodded. "Tell your mother dinner's due in 15 minutes. His calm tone was scarier than yelling. In the kitchen, my mom was dicing carrots, her hands trembling, the knife wobbling. I whispered my father's deadline. She nodded, avoiding my eyes. I saw a new bruise on her arm, blue against her skin, but stayed silent. What could I say? I set the table, each fork clinking like a countdown. That night, I lay awake, thinking about Lucas's invite. Part of me craved the normalcy of his home, but fear of my father finding out loomed larger. He'd warned after the CPS visit that any cry for help would destroy us both. My scars proved it. At breakfast, my father said he'd be home early. "Tell me about your day, son. Every moment." His words slithered over me, chilling my spine. I nodded, staring at my oatmeal, the lumps dissolving into mush. My mom dropped a mug, and we both flinched at the crash. My father sipped his coffee, smirking. School was a fog. Lucas rambled about a new game, but I was lost, dreading home. At lunch, he noticed. "You good? You're super quiet." He slid me his juice box. I shrugged, muttering about exhaustion. Lucas leaned in. "Is it your dad?" I scanned the cafeteria, ensuring no one overheard. "Leave it," I snapped, sharper than intended. Lucas looked stung. I mumbled an apology, picking at my food. After school, I hurried home, exactly on time. My father was in the armchair, waiting. "Sit," he said, patting the seat beside him. I recited my day, classes, assignments, safe topics. Then he asked who I'd spoken to. I named a few classmates, omitting Lucas. My gut screamed to protect him. "New friends?" he pressed, his stare piercing. My pulse raced. "Nah, just the usual," I said, tugging a loose thread on my shirt. He leaned forward. "Your mother mentioned a Lucas." I'd forgotten telling her about him weeks ago, in a rare moment alone. She'd ratted me out, as ordered. "Oh, him," I said. "Fast. He's new. Just a group project." I downplayed it, but my father's eyes narrowed. "Bring him over. I want to meet your buddies." His smile was a trap. "He's got band practice," I lied, holding my breath. He nodded, but I knew he wasn't done. That weekend, I was scrubbing the basement as punishment for not reporting my mom's extra call to her cousin. My arms burned, dust choking me. My father appeared with 2 sodas, handing me one. I was 12 and had never drunk soda. It fizzed strangely in my hand. "Drink," he ordered. I sipped, wincing at the sharp taste. He laughed. "My dad gave me my first soda at your age. Said it'd toughen me up." He gripped my shoulder, fingers, digging in. "You want to be tough, right?" I nodded, forcing another sip. He rambled about men ruling their homes, how my mom needed discipline, how lucky we were to have him. I stared at the floor, wishing I could vanish. By Monday, I was wrecked, sleepless, nauseous from the soda, and fear. Lucas saw bruises on my neck during gym. "What happened?" he whispered, alarmed. I yanked my collar up. "Tripped on the porch." He shook his head. "That's not tripping. My aunt used to lie like that." I begged him to drop it, slamming my locker. After school, he trailed me, talking about his aunt's escape. "You don't get it," I snapped. "I tried CPS. It backfired." I spilled about the caseworker and my punishment. Lucas looked grim. "Then we need proof. My mom's a doctor. She knows abuse signs." I grabbed his sleeve. "Swear you won't tell." He agreed, reluctantly. That night, my father was oddly upbeat, bringing home burgers, a rarity. My mom and I traded wary looks. Then he said, "Met your pal Lucas's dad today. Good guy, runs the hardware store. They're coming for dinner Saturday." My burger turned to ash in my mouth. He'd tracked down Lucas's family to control my last lifeline, emphasizing normal families with venom. At school, I begged Lucas to fake sick for the dinner. It's a trap. My dad's a master at fooling adults. Lucas thought his parents might notice something. No, they won't. He'll charm them. Too late. His parents were thrilled to come. Lucas vowed to show his mom my bruises, but I knew my father would block it. The dinner was a facade of normalcy. My father was charismatic, cracking jokes that made Lucas's parents laugh. My mom wore a high-neck sweater to hide marks, her smile strained. I sat by Lucas, mute, choking down food. Lucas's dad, Mr. Reed, was a store manager. His mom, Dr. Reed, was a pediatrician. They praised our home, oblivious to the predator at the table. Lucas tried mentioning hospital abuse cases, but my father pivoted the topic, shooting me a warning glance. I nudged Lucas to stop. After, in my room, he whispered, "Your dad seems cool. You sure?" I hissed. "That's his trick. Stop making it worse." He looked crushed, but I was too scared to care. After they left, my father turned to me. "Nice, folks. But Lucas has a wild imagination. His dad said he's been spinning tales." He'd already discredited Lucas. "Go to bed. Your mom and I need to chat." I eavesdropped from the stairs as he banned me from seeing Lucas, threatening my mom if she allowed it. She agreed, her voice flat. Next day, Lucas said his parents thought I was lying, thanks to my father's stories about my issues. I felt betrayed. "Told you," I muttered. Lucas offered his mom's expertise, but I knew my father hid too well. Over weeks, my father dismantled our friendship, convincing the school to separate us, feeding Lucas's parents lies about my delinquency. When they found my texts about the abuse, they banned Lucas from me, believing I was trouble. At school, Lucas drifted to other friends, leaving me isolated. My father relaxed, his victory complete. My mom grew ghostly, her silent guilt crushing me. One night, I overheard my father call me spineless, like my mom, blaming my disloyalty for her latest beating. A glass shattered. I fled to my room, heart racing. The next morning, he said her new bruise was my fault for not snitching enough. I decided I needed a new plan. If adults failed me, I'd save us. I started a secret notebook, stashed under a floorboard, logging every incident, dates, times, details of his cruelty. It felt like fighting back, preserving truth he tried to bury. I noted when he smashed a bowl because dinner was late, when he locked me in the attic for missing a report, when he forced me to watch him hit her, saying, "This is what happens to disobedient wives." Each word was a brick in my case, but I got sloppy. One day, I left the notebook out. My father found it, sitting on my bed, flipping pages. "Creative writing, huh?" he sneered, ripping it apart. "Think this'll save you? I'm a pillar of this town. You're a lying kid." He loomed over me as I backed into the wall. "Clean this mess. If I find another, your mom pays." I sobbed, gathering the shreds, hope fading. But I didn't quit. If paper was risky, I needed something he couldn't destroy. At school, I approached Lucas, estranged but my only hope. "Can I borrow your phone for a day?" He hesitated, then gave me his old one, unchecked by his parents. That night, I hid it in a vent and began recording. Photos of my mom's bruises while she slept, audio of my father's tirades through walls. My hands shook, but each file was power. For 2 weeks, I built my case, using the phone's motion sensor to catch his outbursts. I hid it in drawers, behind mugs, under tables. I recorded him threatening my mom over a $5 overspend, forcing me to list her failures, and boasting about his family control system. I acted obedient, snitching eagerly to lower his guard. It worked. He trusted me more, unaware of my betrayal. Then my father saw me with Lucas at a school event. He didn't react then, but next day, he told Lucas's parents Lucas stole from us. A lie. They believed him, grounding Lucas and cutting our contact. Lucas ignored me at school, his parents' ban absolute. I was gutted, but held onto the phone's evidence. I just needed the right person to trust. I thought of Miss Harper, my old teacher. She'd once asked about a bruise with real concern. After class, I said, "Miss Harper, can we talk privately?" She nodded, clearing her desk. Trembling, I showed her the phone's photos. Her face paled. How long? Forever, I said. I tried CPS, but he lied. She looked resolute. Not this time. This is solid proof, but we must be cautious. As a mandated reporter, she'd escalate it carefully, involving the original caseworker and others to block my father's charm. She kept the phone safe and told me to act normal. That week dragged. I played the perfect son, snitching on my mom, earning my father's smiles. On Friday, Ms. Harper whispered, "Tonight at 7, the caseworker, a cop, and an advocate are coming. Stay calm. Tell the truth." Hope and fear battled inside me. This was our last shot. I went home, stomach churning. My father was cheerful, grilling steaks. My mom stirred soup, her eyes empty, fresh marks on her neck. "Good day, champ?" he asked. "Yeah, normal," I lied, my voice tight. 6 hours until 7 p.m. At 6:40 his phone rang, a work emergency. "I'll be back soon. Dinner better be ready," he snapped, leaving. I exhaled. Ms. Harper must have planned this. I told my mom, "Help's coming at 7, caseworker, police." She dropped a spoon, panicking. "He'll kill us." "I have proof he can't dodge," I said, explaining the recordings. Fear flickered, but hope sparked in her eyes. At 7, the doorbell rang. I opened it to Ms. Clara, the caseworker, with Officer Lane and Advocate Ms. Riley. Ms. Harper watched from her car across the street, nodding. "Mrs. Carter, we need to talk," Ms. Clara said, eyeing my mom's bruises. We sat in the den as I showed the photos and played recordings. My mom wept silently. Officer Lane took notes, Ms. Riley steadying me. "Why didn't you tell me last time?" Ms. Clara asked my mom. "He'd take my boy, said no one would believe me," she whispered. "And you didn't." Ms. Clara apologized, vowing to fix it. Then tires screeched outside. My father was back. "He's here," I gasped. Officer Lane stood between us and the door. My father stormed in, froze at the sight, then glared at me, rage igniting. "What's this?" he demanded. Officer Lane said, "We're investigating abuse reports." My father switched to charm. "Misunderstanding. My son makes up stories." "I don't," I said. "You're lying." His mask slipped. Officer Lane showed no sway. "We have photos, recordings." My father's confidence cracked. "Show me," he growled, stepping forward. "Stay back," Officer Lane ordered. My father lunged at me, snarling, "What did you do?" Officer Lane restrained him. "James Carter, you're under arrest for domestic assault and child endangerment." Handcuffed, he ranted about his status, but it was empty. The house felt lighter without him. Ms. Riley outlined next steps: protective orders, shelter, therapy. Ms. Clara knelt before my mom. "I failed you before. Not now." My mom's tears felt like release. We packed essentials and moved to a safe apartment, simple, but free of his shadow. Weeks blurred with legal steps. My father's lawyer painted me as troubled, my mom as erratic, but the evidence was undeniable. Lucas and his parents visited, horrified after seeing the proof. His dad apologized for doubting me. Lucas grinned. "Told you my mom would help." Dr. Reed had documented my mom's injuries for court. At school, rumors swirled, but Lucas stayed loyal. Ms. Harper brought me snacks, saying, "You're so brave." I shrugged. "Just did what I had to." The court gave my mom custody and a permanent restraining order. My father pled guilty to lesser charges, avoiding trial, getting 2 years, likely one with good behavior. It felt too short, but his sentencing day, watching him cuffed, powerless, was freeing. My mom thrived in therapy, working at a library, standing taller. I started therapy too, struggling to open up, but Dr. Lena was patient, teaching me healing isn't straight. Some nights, I woke panicked, hearing his voice. But those faded. My mom and I rebuilt, free to breathe, no longer watching our every move. For the first time, I imagined a life without fear.